You found just stories, simple, heartfelt moments from real lives, stories that remind us how connected we all are through love, loss, and hope. Get cozy. The stories are about to begin. Kate's gaze wandered listlessly over the intricate patterns of the wallpaper. The wall clock steadily ticked the rhythm of life rushing relentlessly forward, a life that cared nothing for insignificant figures like 40-year-old housewife Kate Smith. Life hummed, merging into the stream of cars on the highway, rustled in the thick foliage of trees, shouted with children's voices in the yard, howled with the neighbor's dog, and rattled dishes in the kitchen of the neighbors from apartment 104. But inside Kate, there was only a ringing, deafening emptiness, neither thoughts nor feelings. It seemed even the blood had frozen in her veins. "Mom, are you okay?" came the voice of her daughter, Valerie. "Oh," Kate started as if waking up. "Honey, is that you? I didn't even hear you come in." "Just now. Did you go to the hospital?" "Well, what happened? What's the news?" the girl asked anxiously. Dr. Michael Thompson said there's nothing left to hope for. The metastases have started growing aggressively. Dad is unlikely to wake up unless it's from unbearable pain. I don't know what to do, sweetheart. Dr. Thompson hinted today that it's time to think about turning off the life support machines. So, you mean there's absolutely no chance? Valerie's eyes filled with tears. But that can't be, Mom. Medicine works wonders now. They pull people back from the brink. Valerie, Kate hugged her daughter. The doctors say we shouldn't expect a miracle. When they turn off the machines, Dad might regain consciousness, but I'm so afraid he'll suffer from this hellish pain, and no one knows how long he can endure it. The painkillers barely help anymore, not even the strongest ones. Mom, why is this happening? The girl sobbed. Why Dad? He was always so healthy. He exercised. He didn't even smoke. Can cancer really strike so suddenly and wipe a person off the face of the earth in just a couple of months? And everywhere they write that cancer is treated successfully now. Why isn't it like that for us? I don't understand it myself, my dear. I never thought I'd have to go through something like this. When Victor first went to the doctors, things didn't look so bad. The prognoses were encouraging. But then everything started developing so rapidly. No one expected it. And the therapy they chose. One organ after another started failing. I can't explain anything to you because even the doctors are helpless. They did everything they could, and Dad was so determined. It's as if someone cursed us. You shouldn't say that, Valerie said, alarmed. Do you believe in that? I don't know what to believe anymore. I even thought about going to a psychic. Mom talked me into it. She found some man, says he can... And I'll tell you a secret. I've already arranged a meeting. Mom, are you serious? I understand you're desperate, but that's a scam. Sweetheart, I'm ready to grasp at any straw. Don't even think about going to him. He'll just fleece you. You're smart. You know they prey on other people's grief and gullibility. I'll just go, honey. If I see he's a fraud, I'll just leave. But Grandma's completely lost it. It's okay for her. It's forgivable. She believes in all that. But you're an engineer, a person with a higher education. How can you even consider something like that? There's a lot that's inexplicable in life, Valerie. Take you, for example, at 11 you reason like an adult. Why is that? That's because you and Dad raised me that way, taught me everything since childhood. And besides, kids grow up fast these days. There's no mysticism here. But charlatans, that's stupid and dangerous. It's better to look for other doctors. Maybe ours are just like that. Valerie looked at her seriously. Sweetheart, Victor is in the best oncology clinic. World-renowned specialists work here. It's unlikely there's anyone more competent. That's reasonable. Then I don't understand. If you realize all this, how could you give in to Grandma's persuasion and go to some healer? Okay, please, let's change the subject. It's hard for me to talk about this. All right, but promise you won't pay this man? I promise, her mother smiled faintly. Listen, I didn't cook anything today. Maybe we should order something? Mom, money is tight right now. I'll cook something myself, Valerie smiled. You go rest, it's better. Thank you, my girl. Kate hugged her daughter tightly. Just don't go to too much trouble, I don't have much appetite. By the way, there are dumplings in the freezer, we can boil them. Dumplings again? We just had them yesterday, we'll ruin our stomachs. What about it? Perfectly healthy food, dough and meat. When you make them yourself, Valerie countered. With store-bought ones, you don't know what's mixed in. No way. I'll cook something proper. I'll at least fry some potatoes. There's chicken. All right, honey, okay, I'll lie down for a bit. Kate lay down on the sofa. She felt ashamed that her daughter was busy in the kitchen, but at the same time glad that Valerie was growing up so independent and thoughtful. The next morning, without saying anything to anyone, Kate went to meet the psychic. At work, she called in late, citing the need to be at the hospital with her husband. Her colleagues, who had always liked Kate, sincerely sympathized with her grief. To Kate's surprise, the healer didn't live in a dilapidated mansion, but in an ordinary high-rise building in a residential area. She dialed the code on the intercom, and the door immediately beeped, inviting her in. Taking the elevator to the 8th floor, she saw a man of indeterminate age in a comfortable coffee-colored tracksuit. He looked quite attractive and didn't resemble the black-cloaked magician from her imagination at all. "Hello, Catherine," the man smiled warmly. "My name is Arthur. Please come in." He let Kate inside. The apartment turned out to be spacious and bright. No bunches of herbs on the walls or chicken feet in jars. An ordinary, modern, comfortable home. "I see you're surprised," Arthur remarked with a smile. "Were you expecting to enter the dwelling of a medieval alchemist?" "Honestly, yes," Kate smiled sheepishly. "I'll warn you right away, I'm skeptical. I'm a civil engineer, I don't really believe in this sort of thing." Blind faith isn't needed here. Everyone has their own path. Higher powers gave me the gift of seeing what is inaccessible to many. You have the talent to design buildings. Isn't that right? So you won't be looking into a crystal ball? God forbid, my dear, that's for charlatans. I work with energy, not witchcraft. You do believe in energy, don't you? Energy? Kate frowned. Well, in the physical sense, yes. Electromagnetic, kinetic, potential. The laws of physics are known since school. Exactly. But modern physics has only studied a small part of the universe, and energy is much more multifaceted. What, in your opinion, is the soul? The soul? Kate pondered. Well, they say it's what makes us human. They say correctly. And how do you feel about it yourself? I'm not talking about religion now. The soul is probably some kind of inner driving force, Kate began. Ah, I see what you're getting at. So the soul is also energy? Absolutely. We don't see it, but we feel it, just like any energy field. And our thoughts are energy too. The human body obeys physics, chemistry, and biology, but it's driven by energy. Have you heard of the aura, the biofield? Everyone has one. Studies have been conducted that record it and even allow influencing it, and some people like me can control it. I've been doing this for 30 years. Once I was just as skeptical, I only believed in science. I worked at a nuclear power plant, but after 40, something happened that changed my world. Forgive the question, Kate interrupted. How old are you? 75, Arthur smiled. Incredible, Kate breathed out. You look about 40. Yes, I know. My appearance froze at the moment it all happened. I was 43. There was an accident at our station. There were almost no chances to fix it. The horror of Chernobyl was before my eyes. Everything happened as if in slow motion, in a couple of seconds. I did something that I still can't explain, let alone back then. What was it? Kate froze. I pictured the explosion, the whole catastrophe, as if I ran a film, and then rewound to the moment of the mistake. The young shift supervisor fell asleep. The reactor started heating up critically, and so I returned to the moment the guy dozed off. I don't know how quickly I realized, but I understood that the future depended on me at that very moment. I rushed into the control room, and there the guy was nodding off. The instruments showed alarming readings. I woke him up. We managed to react, called for help, prevented the catastrophe. Are you saying you traveled through time? No, that's impossible. Something else happened. I experienced, like a very long déjà vu. I saw all the future events, and this happened when I fell asleep. Yes, I broke the rules then. If I had overslept, the catastrophe would have been inevitable. I fell asleep, but at that very moment I received a vision that allowed me to save everyone. I understand it sounds wild, especially since you won't find anything about it anywhere, because officially nothing happened. But from that day on, I started searching for an explanation for my sudden abilities. Strange things started happening. I started seeing the future, not just in dreams. They were like instantaneous flashes of consciousness. I was scared, I didn't know what to do. Then I met someone who helped me understand. I won't go into details, you probably wouldn't believe me anyway. But since then, I've dedicated my life to it. I studied in India, mastering energy practices. My physics education initially hindered me, but then I understood how to connect science and what was revealed to me. Now I can see the past and the future. Don't think I'm omnipotent. I can't change much, but I can help. The main thing I understood is the universe is permeated with energy, and if you learn to tune into the right flows, a lot becomes clear. I don't consider myself a sage. I'm just a receiver, picking up information from the general field and transmitting it. Let's say I believe you, Kate said skeptically. Although it still seems incredible. My mother recommended you. I'm in great sorrow right now. I don't know how to live on or what to expect. Tell me about it. Don't worry, it will remain confidential. If I can, I'll help. Kate hesitated. But the payment... Arthur smiled sadly and nodded, understanding. My daughter let me come, on the condition that I wouldn't pay. You know how many scammers there are, and we're in a difficult situation right now. Catherine, Arthur gently touched her shoulder, and Kate felt an inexplicable relief. I don't take money. Any gratitude is at your discretion. My gift is not my property. It's for everyone. If I charged a fee, I'd be living in a luxurious mansion now, not here. Maybe it's illogical, but I decided this a long time ago and won't change. But how do you live? How do you earn a living? I write thesis papers for students, Arthur laughed. Unexpected, but it brings in a decent income, and my education doesn't go to waste. Well, Kate nodded. All right, let's try. 6 months ago, my husband, Victor, suddenly felt unwell. It was sudden. He was at home, lost consciousness, felt dizzy. Victor is young. He was always healthy. I was terribly scared. I called an ambulance. He didn't regain consciousness. They took him away. And there, they found liver cancer. Although Victor never drank, nothing harmful. It's hard to detect in the early stages. At first, everything went well. The doctors started treatment right away. The tests gave hope. They told us it was treatable. For almost 6 months, his condition improved. But then it suddenly got worse. He was urgently hospitalized. The examination showed the metastases had spread, affecting neighboring organs. Chemo and radiation didn't help. Now Victor is unconscious almost all the time. They give him strong painkillers. He's in an induced coma, connected to machines. I don't understand anything. I only see my beloved husband. It's unbearable. We have a daughter, Valerie. She adores her father. It's harder for her than for me. I don't know how we'll be without him. So, the doctors can't explain why the disease is progressing so quickly, Arthur asked. Show me a photo of him. Kate took out her phone and handed him a picture. Arthur gazed at it for a long time, then closed his eyes and froze for several minutes. Kate didn't dare break the silence. It seemed he had fallen into a trance. Finally, he opened his eyes and exhaled heavily. Only then did Kate realize he hadn't been breathing the whole time. About 10 minutes passed. Well? She asked impatiently. I'll be blunt. There is no hope of saving Victor, but... But? Kate repeated. Nothing can be changed now. Your husband was subjected to external influence. That's what caused the illness. When he got better, the influence was repeated, with double the force, and the disease started growing. What does that mean? Kate's eyes widened. What kind of influence? The evil eye? A hex? Many call it that. I prefer influence. But who? Who could have done this? Victor had no enemies. He got along with everyone. I will describe these people. Arthur nodded. There are two of them. The first is a woman, around 40, with ash blonde hair, plump, short, long bright nails, lots of jewelry, wears glasses. She's only interested in money. Divorce didn't change her. She's from Victor's close circle. The influence was physical, through some kind of liquid. The second is a young man, brown-haired, thin, hunched, a scar near his lip. He's easily influenced, completely under the woman's control. Also close to Victor. He practices rituals. He has strong but dark energy. The woman uses him to break Victor. And the worst part, they seem to be his relatives. My God. Kate turned pale. You've described his older sister, Helen, and his stepbrother, Walter. How did you know? Is it true? Why? Why would they ruin their brother? Because of money. Victor always helped them, especially Helen after her divorce. She was left with nothing. Her husband took the property. Helen seems nice. But could she really be capable of something like this? He essentially supported her. And Walt, he simply adored Victor. Walt is under Helen's strong influence. She has somehow subjugated his will. In his mind, it's like a fog. He doesn't understand what he's doing himself. He can't be blamed. But Helen, if you had come earlier, this could have been removed. But now... But maybe there's a chance, Kate whispered. She felt she could believe Arthur. I can perform a cleansing. This will only ease his pain. Give him a few weeks. The influence is too powerful. It's impossible to remove it at this stage. It's one thing when only the energy is affected, another when the body is already dying. I'm ready for anything, just so Victor wakes up and doesn't suffer like this. I can't lose him without saying goodbye. All right, Arthur nodded. I will do everything in my power, but be prepared for any outcome. I don't see a miracle. What will I need from you? I need access to your husband. Is that possible? Yes, visits are allowed today. I'll say you're a relative. He's in a private room. No one will disturb us. We can go right now. Time is precious. Yes, of course, I'll just change. Arthur left, leaving Kate alone with her thoughts. It was hard to process. Why? She whispered to herself. Victor did everything for them. What will they gain from his death? I always felt Helen wasn't so simple. But this much? They smiled, asked for help. This is family? After their parents died, Victor took care of Walt, paid for his studies. Their stepmother didn't let them see each other. And when she started having problems, she was right there. I don't understand, God. Why didn't Mom tell me about this man sooner? Although I probably wouldn't have believed her. Lord, give me strength. I'm ready, Arthur returned, dressed in a light summer suit. He looked respectable. The doctors won't think I'm strange? No, Kate reassured him. When I visit Victor, they don't bother us. Excellent, the psychic nodded. Then let's go. Bright sunlight filtered through the blinds. Kate looked at her husband, connected to the machines, and her heart ached. The man with whom she had lived her life. His face, usually full of life, was now pale, almost gray, with deep shadows under his closed eyelids. Victor had become very thin. The skin on his cheekbones seemed taut. Kate gently took his hand. His fingers were cold and dry, as if life was already leaving his body. Arthur waited by the door, not interfering. He held a small bag in his hand. Arthur, come here, Kate called. He came over and sat beside her. Here. He's been in this state for almost a month. May I? Arthur asked, looking at her husband. Kate nodded. Arthur gently took Victor's hand. He sat with his eyes closed for a few minutes, then abruptly stood up and took a small bag of salt and a black candle from his bag. Catherine, you need to leave. No one should be here. If anyone tries to enter in the next 15 minutes, stall them. I will now collect a sample of his energy onto the salt using the candle. This is for working at home. Without direct contact, this would be impossible. Okay, Kate nodded and hurried out the door. Kate waited in the corridor on a small sofa. It was empty around her. Time dragged agonizingly slowly. Suddenly, a nurse appeared from around the corner, heading directly for Victor's room. Kate tensed up. "Oh, you can't go in there right now," she quickly said, blocking the way. "Why not?" the nurse asked, surprised, holding an IV bag. "I need to set up the IV. It's time." "You see," Kate stammered. "There. His uncle came to visit. From far away. From Vladivostok. They haven't seen each other in 10 years. He came to say goodbye. I even stepped out, left them alone. I don't want to disturb them. He's very upset. They were very close. He only needs about 10 minutes. He'll be out soon." 10 minutes? The nurse glanced at her watch. "All right, just don't tell the doctor he'll be angry. I have a little time. Let him be with him. But I'll be back in exactly 10 minutes, okay?" Okay, Kate nodded rapidly. When the nurse went into the next room, Kate breathed a sigh of relief. The last thing she needed was for someone to see her bringing healers to the hospital in her desperation. Arthur peeked out of the room. "Catherine, I'm finished. I'll continue the work at home." "Thank you," Kate smiled weakly. At that moment, the nurse reappeared. "So, did the relatives say goodbye?" She winked. "Now it's my turn." Arthur and Kate left the hospital. They said goodbye, and Kate went to work. The rest of the day passed in heavy thoughts. She couldn't focus on work, and her boss tactfully sent her home. On Saturday afternoon, Kate was woken up by a sharp phone call. Its persistence and urgency immediately caused alarm. "Hello?" she answered with a trembling voice. "Catherine, good afternoon," came Dr. Michael Thompson's voice. "Can you come now?" "Yes, of course. Has something happened?" Her anxiety intensified. "Yes, but don't worry. Victor has regained consciousness. We're disconnecting the machines now." "My God, yes, I'm leaving immediately." Kate started getting ready in a hurry. There had been almost no chance that Victor would regain consciousness. This could only be the result of Arthur's cleansing. "Val!" she called to her daughter. "Get dressed quickly. Dad's awake." "Really?" Valerie froze in the doorway. "Sweetheart, don't just stand there. Hurry." "Yes, Mom, I'm coming. I'm already ready. I won't change." 25 minutes later, they were at the hospital. The elevator was stuck somewhere between floors. "What is this?" Kate exclaimed. "One's broken, the other's busy. Let's walk." She grabbed Valerie's hand and pulled her up the stairs. Dr. Michael Thompson was waiting for them by the room. "Hello, ladies," he said softly. "Calm down. No excessive emotions. Victor has regained consciousness, but he's very weak. He was given a painkiller injection. Surprisingly, he said he doesn't feel any pain." "Thank you, doctor," Kate cried. "Mom, what's wrong?" Valerie stroked her hand. "Does that mean he'll get better?" "Don't get ahead of yourselves," the doctor stopped her. "We don't know how this happened, but his condition remains extremely serious." Kate and Valerie went in. At first, Kate thought nothing had changed, but then she saw that there were almost no tubes on her husband's face. Victor was breathing on his own. Hearing them, he opened his eyes and, recognizing them, smiled weakly. The smile was weak, almost frightening, but for Kate, it was the most precious thing in the world. "Victor!" She rushed to him. "Daddy, hello!" Valerie sobbed. "My girls," Victor whispered in a hoarse voice. "I thought I wouldn't see you again." "Quiet, quiet, my love," Kate cried. "Don't talk yet, you shouldn't. We came right away as soon as the doctor called." "My God, how—" "Mommy, calm down, it's okay," Valerie supported her. "Drink some water." For a while they tried to talk, but Victor was too weak, and Kate and Valerie were too shaken. "Val, I need to tell Mom something. Can you step out for a couple of minutes?" "Dad, are you serious?" Valerie protested. "We don't have secrets." All right, just kidding, Victor smiled weakly. I understand you want to be alone. I'll go get some chocolate. Valerie went out. As soon as the door closed, Victor squeezed Kate's hand so tightly it hurt. Victor, be careful. Don't strain yourself. Kate, listen to me carefully. There's very little time. His voice suddenly became clearer, the hoarseness almost gone. But what was most frightening were his eyes. They seemed darker and shone unnaturally. Victor, everything will be all right now. No, Kate, don't deceive yourself. Valerie will be all right. You... Don't say that, Kate sobbed. Kate, please don't interrupt. We have little time. I don't know how much longer I'll last. I saw something. I don't know how to explain it. I was in darkness. Then a light appeared and a man in a suit. He was drawing me in, talking to me. It was like a dream, but I know it wasn't a dream. I saw Helen. She was somehow binding me. Walt was next to her. They were taking me apart, like something broken. And that man told me that they sent this to harm Valerie. Victor, why? Why? Because of the apartment? What about the apartment? That's nonsense. Listen, I didn't tell you, but our apartment is an inheritance from Grandpa. He's nothing to Walt, but a relative to Helen. Grandpa left everything to me. They had a bad relationship. Helen couldn't accept it then. And I did something foolish. We didn't know each other then. I wrote a will leaving it to her. Why? Kate exclaimed indignantly. It's a long story. I wasn't thinking about a family then. And I love my sister, you know, even though she's complicated. We agreed, more as a joke, just to calm her down. I wrote that in the event of my death, the apartment would go to her. That was about 14 years ago. Then she got married, and it was all forgotten. I didn't even remember it myself. And then you came along, and Valerie. But something happened. I don't know what happened with Helen, how she decided to get rid of me. I helped her. What else did she need? I can't believe she's capable of this because of square footage. I understand the apartment is expensive now. Grandpa wasn't poor. It's a good apartment from the factory. Sell it. You could buy 2 new ones and still have money left over. Apparently greed took over, but it seems someone pushed her, and Walt fell under her influence. He had abilities since childhood. Mom even took him to some healer. Dad and I didn't believe in it. But Helen was interested. One time I caught them doing some rituals. Dad burned everything then, forbade the occultism. He was a believer. And it was all forgotten. And now, Helen decided to use Walt. I don't know what she did to him, how she convinced him. But they pulled it off. There's no other explanation. I realized he was the one going to the cemetery. I don't know what he was doing there. And then I saw my sister's face, how she looked. I woke up. I know I don't have long left. We have to stop them in time. And that's not all. I feel she'll turn on you and Valerie to get rid of everyone. A notary is coming now. I'll transfer the apartment to you. Otherwise, with that will, she'll throw you out onto the street. You need protection. That man from my vision, he can help. But I don't know where to find him. I know, Kate said quietly. What? How? Where from? Victor was surprised. Victor, I went to him. I know it's crazy, but Mom insisted. I was so desperate, you understand? This man, his name is Arthur. He's a seer. Ironically, he's a physicist. I believed him. He described Helen, told me everything. You know, I don't believe in magic. I'm a realist. But Arthur convinced me. And the fact that you woke up, that's his work. He performed a cleansing. He said right away that there were a few chances, but... Yes, my girl, I can't be saved now. Now you and Valerie need to think about yourselves. Find this Arthur. He'll tell you what to do. Victor, I love you, Kate cried. Don't go! Sweetheart, I'll be near. Now I know this isn't the end. There are things we don't understand. But I'll stay with you. My soul, not my body. It doesn't matter. Victor winced. Darling, are you in pain? Kate asked, frightened. It's all right, he croaked. Call the doctor. Kate ran out of the room looking for someone from the staff. Seeing her, Dr. Michael Thompson immediately hurried to Victor. Kate and Valerie waited in the corridor. Soon a notary arrived and stayed with Victor for a long time. When he left, Kate was allowed to enter. Victor lay motionless. The nurse had just set up the IV. Seeing Kate and Valerie, he smiled weakly, but didn't say a word. A fine, cold rain was falling. Kate, holding back tears, watched as clumps of wet earth struck the coffin lid with a dull thud. She approached the grave last. Squeezing Valerie's hand tightly, she scooped up some earth with trembling fingers and dropped it down. Valerie repeated after her. What happened next? Kate remembered vaguely. How the coffin was lowered, how they were led away, how they were put into a taxi. She was grateful to her mother. "Honey," Alice said, "go home. I'll finish up here myself. There aren't many people. I'll come to you later. It's best for you to go to sleep. You need to get through this. Here, take this." She handed her some medicine. "Take the pills and try to sleep." "Mom, why weren't Helen and Walt at the funeral?" Valerie asked. "Did they leave, or did something happen? Although, what could happen when their brother died?" "I don't know," Kate shuddered. She had tried to call Helen, but the phone was off. She had gone to her home. No one answered. Walt couldn't be found either. It was unclear where they had gone, and if they knew about Victor's death. "I can't find them. I thought the hospital or someone from our mutual acquaintances would inform them. I don't understand where they are. Essentially, they are Victor's closest relatives. Even an aunt he hadn't seen in a long time came. But they aren't here. Mom, I don't know what's going on. This isn't right. By the way, we need to talk about Helen and Walt. I have some unpleasant information. I learned it from Arthur." "From Arthur?" Alice's eyes flashed. "You went to him?" "Not just went. Okay, I'll tell you everything later. The taxi is waiting. Valerie is completely pale. Rest, honey. Take the pills. I'll come in the evening. I have keys." "Okay, Mom." Kate hugged Alice tightly. Alice was busy in the kitchen when Kate woke up. Her mother had given her a sedative and a sleeping pill, but Kate slept restlessly. She dreamed of Victor, the funeral, the hospital commotion, and for some reason, Victor's grandfather, whom she had never seen, but knew it was him. "Did you get any sleep?" Alice asked, concerned. "You and Valerie need to go somewhere while she's on vacation. A change of scenery will help. It will be easier to get through the grief. You know, we had already, while Victor was unconscious, resigned ourselves. But when he woke up, hope appeared. Now I understand that those 30 minutes were his last effort to talk to us. I'm happy we made it. Otherwise, I would have blamed myself my whole life. Mom, I have to tell you everything. Tell you." Kate told in detail how she decided to go to the psychic, what he revealed to her, how he helped Victor wake up. "See?" Alice exclaimed. "I told you should go to him. Reliable people recommended him to me. They wouldn't deceive. Arthur helped them a lot. It's a shame, of course, that we didn't go earlier. Maybe Victor would have. But you can't bring back the past. And his relatives? That's just awful. How could they? And there's no way to punish them. Arthur said that karma catches up with those who do evil, God or energy according to the law of balance. However much evil they sent, that much they will receive back. But by law it would be fair." "Mom, what law? They'll laugh at us. There's no proof." "True. You know what I'm afraid of? Victor said Helen won't stop. She'll want to harm Valerie and me. I want to ask Arthur how to protect ourselves." "Do you think she'll dare? With Victor there was a motive. The apartment. You said he managed to transfer everything to you. The old will is invalid. She must understand that if something happens to you, she still won't get anything. You're not related to her. She won't inherit. And does she even know she won't get anything?" "Probably not. Victor didn't have time to tell her. And she probably doesn't know about his death." "But I think she knows everything. Walt must understand that his work was successful. Although I can't imagine how it works. But even if she knows and is waiting, Why would she need you? Her goal was to kick you out. And now? I don't know, Kate shrugged. I can't just go and ask her. I'll try to find out through Arthur. The next day, Kate invited the psychic over. Valerie opened the door. Hello, she said, scrutinizing the guest. I imagined you differently. You look like an ordinary person. Come in. Mom is waiting. Hello, Valerie. Honestly, I imagined you differently too. I thought at 11 girls were still playing with dolls and wearing bows. You're behind the times, Valerie smiled. At 11, you're already a formed personality. I, by the way, write programs and develop apps. Someone even wants to buy one. Well, I'll be, Arthur whistled. A serious approach. You, of course, are far from this. Mathematics isn't magic. I don't believe in this, although Mom seems to have. I think Dad just woke up by chance. You're wrong to think that, Valerie. I know a thing or two about mathematics. Your mother probably didn't tell you, but I was a lead engineer at a nuclear power plant. Physics and mathematics are like sisters to me. Really? The girl was surprised. Then how did a physicist start practicing pseudoscience? What hasn't been proven isn't necessarily false. I'm not a wizard. I just connect to the Earth's information field. How is that not physics? And my predictions are probability calculations. Nothing supernatural. But it's your right to believe or not. I need to talk to your mother. You know, I might just accept that you're not deceiving us, especially because you don't take money. That's very strange. Nowadays they ask for payment even for a glance. Money isn't the main thing, Valerie, however cliché that might sound. My gift isn't for enrichment. I have my education for that. And for what is given from above, I have no right to charge a fee. Interesting, Valerie mused. All right, I won't interfere. Mom's in the kitchen. Arthur went into the kitchen. Kate was setting the table. Yes, of course, Kate smiled. The situation is this. Before he died, Victor said he communicated with you. There, in another dimension. It's not the astral plane, don't confuse it, Arthur corrected. In short, in that reality of yours. There he saw that Helen was planning to harm Valerie and me. I don't know if you know about the will, but Victor managed to transfer the apartment to me. Is this the same apartment that Helen is claiming? Arthur nodded. Yes. It came to my husband from his grandfather, and foolishly he once left it to Helen so she wouldn't be upset. Now that will is annulled. I'm afraid Helen will seek revenge or try to get rid of us to become the sole heir. Yes, this woman is capable of a lot. It's good that you told me. I won't be able to stop her completely without personal contact, and she's not acting alone. We need to stop Walt. As I understand it, they disappeared. They weren't even at the funeral. Yes, I have a bad feeling they're planning something. I understand. Maybe I'm overthinking, but the feeling of danger doesn't go away. Kate, I can put protection on you and your daughter. It will be like a shield against their attacks, like an energy cocoon. You won't feel it, but when I put it on, you need to be completely relaxed so I can connect to your energy centers. There won't be problems with you, but Valerie, she's skeptical. That might interfere. Talk to her. Without her consent, I won't be able to put the protection on. Yes, of course. When can we do it? Right now. Let's call Valerie, explain together. That will be easier. You see, I told her. It's hard for her to believe in such things. Let's try to convince her, Arthur smiled. Valerie, Kate called. Come here. What happened? Valerie asked, concerned from the doorway. Valerie, sit down. We need to talk, her mother called gently. I'm listening. Valerie sat down, crossing her arms. Sweetheart, I know what I'm about to say might upset you, but for my sake, for Dad's memory, listen seriously. All right, I'll try, Valerie winced. The situation with Dad is the work of your Aunt Helen. She used magic to cause the illness. The reason is simple. Money. Our apartment. Dad once promised it to her in a will, and she decided to go to extreme measures. She doesn't know yet that the apartment is ours now, but Dad warned before he died that we are now in danger. This woman won't stop and might try to get revenge. Really? The girl was horrified. I always hated her. She's awful, and Dad helped her. I felt she was doing something, Valerie cried. Kate hadn't expected this. Mom, Valerie sobbed, so it's all true? And Auntie is a witch? No, dear, Helen isn't a witch, but your Uncle Walt has abilities and she's using them. Uncle Walt too? But that's impossible. He loved Dad so much. He's good. Valerie, Arthur said, there are people like that. They can be good, not wish harm, but are easily influenced by others. Your uncle is being manipulated. His gift is being used for harm. He acts as if under hypnosis. It's hard to blame him. But you should be wary of your aunt. She wants to kill us? Valerie recoiled in horror. It's hard to say right now. Arthur shook his head. I'm not all powerful. I can't see her intentions from a distance. To understand what she's planning, I need contact with her. I don't want her to come here. She won't come, her mother reassured her. Helen and Walt have disappeared. You probably noticed they weren't at the funeral. Maybe they've already punished themselves? Valerie, you mustn't say that, Kate said sternly. Wishing evil on others attracts it to yourself. Their fate will catch up with them, but we need to protect ourselves. But is that possible? Valerie became serious. Look what they did to Dad, and Auntie was smiling knowing he was dying because of her. I can put protection on you, Arthur said. A shield that Helen won't be able to break through. But you have to believe, accept it with all your heart, otherwise it won't work. Valerie, you program, right? What I do with your energy is also a kind of programming. I change your settings, and the protection is an antivirus. It will catch your aunt's attacks and either delete them, block them, or send them back. Then when it's all over, I'll remove it. Do you understand? Uh-huh, the girl nodded. Then let's start now. We can't waste time. Who knows? Maybe Helen has already started acting. For the next 2 hours, Arthur performed his manipulations. Kate and Valerie just needed to sit relaxed. When he finished, he brought them out of this state. Well, girls, my work is done. Now you have nothing to fear. But as soon as Helen makes contact, let me know immediately. Thank you, Arthur, Kate smiled. I believe you. I really hope it helps. Maybe I should pay you after all? Catherine, you have already paid in full. I haven't had such a delicious lunch in a long time. Arthur smiled and headed for the door. After he left, Kate and Valerie discussed everything that had happened for a long time. Almost a month had passed since Victor's death. Kate was gradually learning to live without him. She remembered his words that he would stay close, and it comforted her. Valerie was also recovering. There were 2 weeks left until school. She was already choosing notebooks with her grandmother, meeting friends, contact with whom had been limited due to her father's illness. That day, Valerie returned from her grandmother's in a good mood. She was showing her mom a new tracksuit. Trying it on in front of the mirror, she suddenly turned sharply pale and clutched her head. Valerie, what's wrong? Kate asked, alarmed. Feeling a bit dizzy, her daughter replied, rubbing her temples. It's hot today, the last days of summer, and you put on a tracksuit. Let me make some lemonade, Kate suggested. Take off your new outfit and go to the kitchen. Let's sit on the balcony, it's cooler there. Kate went to the kitchen, took glasses, got a pitcher of lemonade she had made in the morning from the fridge. She added ice, poured the drink, and took it out to the balcony. She sat in an armchair, enjoying the warm sun. Summer's ending, she thought. A hard year. How will we be without Victor now? Valerie is growing up. My salary won't be enough soon. Should she earn money herself? I heard programming brings income, and talented teenagers are hired. But that's a hobby. I need to do something about work. I won't sell the apartment for anything. Everything here reminds me of Victor. It would be a betrayal. Mom, of course, will help. But in my situation, maybe I should ask for a raise. Robert is retiring. He was training me for his position. Can I handle it? You won't know until you try. Where's Valerie? The lemonade will get warm. Valerie, Kate called. Where are you? The ice has already melted. Her daughter didn't answer. Kate felt her heart clench. She came off the balcony, remembering how Valerie had turned pale. Valerie was lying on the floor by the mirror, still in her tracksuit. Kate rushed to her and pulled her hand back after touching her. Her daughter was unconscious and very hot. "My God! Valerie! Valerie, wake up!" Kate slapped her cheeks. Valerie only wheezed. Kate called an ambulance, ran for a wet towel. The cold brought Valerie around. She opened her eyes and mumbled something. Kate carried her to the bed, took off her jacket. Valerie was all red, covered in sweat. The ambulance arrived quickly. The doctor gave Valerie an injection, and after a couple of minutes, she regained consciousness. "Mom," she whispered, "I'm okay." "Sweetheart," Kate stroked her. "How scared I was." "Probably overheated," the doctor said. "Shall we go to the hospital?" "No," Valerie said weakly. "Not there." Kate knew the hospital held painful memories for her daughter. She just looked at the doctor. "You can sign a refusal. I'll prescribe medication in case the temperature rises again. If she gets worse, call immediately." "Okay," Kate nodded. Her temperature rose, but not higher than the doctor said, and Kate didn't call the ambulance. Valerie lay in bed, having taken the medicine. Kate was changing her compresses. "It's because of the air conditioner. We were sitting under it yesterday. I have a runny nose, and you got sick like this." "It's nothing, it'll pass. Just need to sleep. My head hurts a lot," Valerie said quietly. "It was like this when I had the flu, but that was in winter." "Don't worry, it's not the flu, just a cold. The medicine will help." The doorbell rang. Who is it so late? Kate wondered. It was 9 in the evening. "Maybe Grandma?" Valerie asked. "No, she has keys. She wouldn't ring. Lie down, rest. I'll go see." Kate left the room, went to the door, looked through the peephole, and recoiled. Helen and Walt were standing behind the door. Kate hesitated, then took a deep breath and opened it. "Catherine," Helen exclaimed, "why weren't you opening? We thought no one was home." "Where have you been?" Kate immediately asked. "Do you know Victor is gone? I've been looking for you for a month. Your phones are off." "Kate, I'll explain everything." Helen pushed her aside and entered. Walt, silent, followed her. He seemed like her shadow. Kate felt uneasy. She didn't want to let them in but couldn't resist. Helen walked into the living room as if she owned the place and sank heavily onto the sofa. Walt stood beside her, eyes downcast. "I'll be right back," Kate said, her eyes flashing. "Valerie isn't feeling well." It seemed to her that Helen smirked. Kate hurried to the bedroom. "Valerie, don't get up," she whispered. "Victor's sister and brother are here. I'll text Arthur now. I'm scared with them here, and even more scared for you. Lock the door from the inside. She mustn't see you so weak. She might take advantage." Kate quickly typed a message to Arthur, explaining the situation. He replied immediately, told her not to let them leave, and promised to come. Kate confirmed and left Valerie's room. "And Valerie won't come out to say hello?" Helen asked ominously. "We haven't seen her in a long time." "Valerie isn't feeling well another time," Kate replied sharply. "You'd better explain where you disappeared to." "We didn't disappear anywhere," Helen laughed. "We were home, right, Walt?" The man nodded silently. Kate was stunned. "Home? Then why didn't you answer? Why didn't you come to the funeral? Your own brother died, and you were sitting at home." "It's our business whether we come or not. And your business is to pack your things and get out of this apartment with your sick daughter." "Here it is," Kate thought. "It's started. I wish Arthur would come quickly. I'm scared." "What do you mean?" Kate pretended to be surprised. "Why should I leave my apartment?" "And here's why." Helen held out a folder with documents. Kate quickly glanced through them and calmly placed them on the table. "Firstly," she began calmly, feeling her moment approaching, "as far as I know, a will takes effect 6 months after death. So you have no right to be here until you become the official owner." "You're reacting strangely," Helen tensed. "Aren't you surprised that I brought the will? That you're left without a home? All right, legally you're right. I'll wait. Although, since there was a firstly, there will be a secondly," Kate continued, ignoring Helen. "Secondly, this paper has had no force for over a month. Before coming here and waving it around, you should have found out who owns this apartment now." "What are you talking about?" Helen jumped up. "Why is the will invalid? Victor was unconscious. I checked in June." "Thirdly," Kate interrupted, "Victor regained consciousness. If you had been interested in him, you would have known. A notary came to him, and the will was rewritten. So you have no rights to this apartment, neither now nor in 5 months." Kate stood up and pointed to the door. "And fourthly," she smirked, "I know everything. I know that my husband's death is your doing. I can't prove it, but I don't need to. Karma will catch up with you. You degenerates. To kill your own brother because of an apartment." "Oh, so that's it," Helen shrieked. "So that's what this is about. You were right, Walt. She found out something. It's a good thing we took precautions." "What are you talking about?" Kate turned pale. "My condition. We're going to the notary and you're signing a deed of gift to me." "Of course, right now?" Kate smirked. "Suit yourself," Helen rolled her eyes. "Walt, go on." The man took a small bag from his purse and put his hand into it. A loud groan came from Valerie's room. "I'm coming!" Kate lunged towards the door. "Don't rush!" Helen grabbed her. "You won't help her. If you resist, Valerie will burn alive. You know what we're capable of, don't you? My niece is in Walt's hands right now. So get ready. We're going to the notary. A deed of gift, renunciation of inheritance, whatever. The apartment will be mine, understood? Otherwise, you'll lose your daughter." "No one will lose anyone," Arthur's voice rang out. "Who are you?" Helen asked maliciously. "This is the one who will make you answer for Dad's death." Valerie appeared from behind Arthur, looking completely healthy. "What happened?" Helen shouted. "Walt, why isn't it working?" Walt put his hand into the bag again, and Valerie let out a groan. Kate was scared, but then immediately heard her daughter laughing. "Nothing will work for you!" Valerie shouted to her aunt. "You chose the wrong people. Mom, kick them out. They can't harm us anymore." But Kate was bewildered. "Get out of the apartment or I'll call the police. You'll have to explain where you got the materials," Arthur said. "What? What materials?" Kate didn't understand. "Accumulated from cemeteries. You can get time for that. Leave peacefully." "You'll regret this," Helen hissed, walking towards the door. Walt shuffled after her. "You won't have time," Arthur smirked. "Retribution will come faster. You think you can ruin lives? I've seen your future. Go, you'll find out everything yourselves soon." When the unwelcome guests left and Kate locked the door, she demanded an explanation. "I arrived almost immediately. Don't ask how so quickly, you wouldn't believe me anyway." Arthur smiled, gently ruffling Valerie's hair. "It's a good thing you didn't lock the door. I came in and heard a noise. I immediately felt their energy and went to Valerie. She still didn't fully believe us, and they managed to break through part of the protection. It's a good thing you called, otherwise there would have been trouble. But I fixed everything, and they won't be able to harm you anymore." "But how can I be sure?" Kate asked. "Helen was furious. She'll find a way to get what she wants." "She won't have time." "Why?" Kate frowned. "You'll find out from the news tomorrow," Arthur smiled mysteriously. "And now I must go. I need to rest after such work. It was a pleasure meeting you, even under these circumstances. Goodbye." Arthur stood up and left.